Everyone. This video is going to walk you through the steps that you need to complete in order to have a successful final assessment project. And so with that final assessment, the first thing you need to understand is that there's two parts to it. One is the artifact that you're going to create, and two is the accompanying piece or the reflection that's going to help describe and explain your artifact. Now, I've mentioned this a couple times to you in class. I don't want people that feel like they're not super creative or musical or art inclined to be fearful of this project. There is something in this project for everyone, and I want you to make it your own, but at the same time, I want you to feel comfortable with the tools that you're using to display your understanding. So please know that while some people may do a poster, some people may do a piece of art, some people might use a graphic organizer. Any way that you choose to represent your various issues that you select for this is going to be uniquely you, and it does not have to be artistic and super musical, okay? That's just my main point to you is please don't let that bog you down. The format that you choose to represent your issues should just be one that you're comfortable with and that you feel best is the tool for you to use. All right, so I want to take you through the assessment instructions, and you can see they're right here. This is straight off of Moodle. And the first thing that you should be thinking about is that you have to consider the important questions, and these are the questions that we have been pondering throughout this entire course so far, which is, first of all, what are the most important issues in education today? How do they relate? Why are these issues important to you, and why should other people in education, teachers, administrators, parents, take notice of these issues? So when you use those driving questions, you're going to be selecting your issues that you want to talk about, represent, display, and show how they connect, all right? And so you're going to select 3, hopefully more than 3. I would suggest 4 or more if you want the highest score on the rubric for this particular activity. And you're going to show how they are visually represented and use some writing skills then to explain them, all right? So let's scroll down here just a little bit, looking at the instructions. Okay, for the final assessment, you're to create something, an artifact that answers those questions we just went through. Then you're going to use your writing skills to explain which issues in education you feel are most worthy of attention and how those issues are related and illustrated within your artifact. Basically, explaining your artifact to us in excellent, informative detail. All right. You can see there are some different ways to construct the artifact. I have had all of these in my course, and people are very successful with these various mediums. I have seen poetry, I have seen rap, I have seen pieces of art that were suitable to be hung on your walls. Again, posters, other displays. You can do any of these things, or if there's something that's not on this list and you want to run it by me, please feel free to do that, all right? Now, the one thing I want to tell you is that depending on what you select, if you pick something that is more of a visual representation, just a static picture of some various items that represent your issues, you are going to need to spend more time on the written side explaining your artifact, because unless I can tell explicitly from your artifact how all these issues interrelate, you're going to need to help us as the person viewing your artifact to understand them through your written reflection. So I hope you can appreciate the importance of the two pieces connecting. If your artifact that you produce has a lot of information around it, a lot of descriptors, you may not need to spend as much time in your written reflection telling us about your artifact. I hope that makes sense to you. One caution I would have for you for this final project is that in the past, I've had some students that have used the tool Wordle, which is a fun tool. I really enjoy seeing them, but for this particular project, it is not acceptable and will not be accepted as a final artifact. So please just know that Wordles are not to be used in your final representation of all of your issues. So just keep in mind, you've got those two pieces to put together. It is not supposed to be a research paper, but you're really kind of at liberty to have some fun and be creative. Keeping in mind on the written side, there will be some expectations about, of course, writing form and style and APA, and I'm going to take you through the rubric in just a second. But remember, that you should at least select 3 to meet the satisfactory criteria, 3 issues to talk about, to show their interrelationship, to explain why they're important to you and should be to others. I highly recommend that you select 4 or more issues, because that will get you above that satisfactory rating to the sophisticated level that you're probably hoping for on the grading scale. All right, let's just keep going down here. I just want to cover a little bit about turning it in. Remember, the final assessment is due the last week of class, and so the exact due dates are within the Moodle document itself. You can see them right on week 7. I'm not going to go into it right now, but you should be able to click on that and find it right away. Remember that there will be reduction for any late submissions. But the other thing I want you to remember is you are going to upload not only your artifact and reflection to the Dropbox, but you're also going to upload it to the forum for discussion. Because at the end of, not the end of, but by the middle of the final week, you will have uploaded your artifact and your reflection, as will all your colleagues in the class. And then you need to go in and view 2 colleagues, which is different than most of our other discussions where you've only had to do 1. In this instance, you need to view 2 artifacts and reflections or written discussions and react to them. And that is critical. If you don't get that done, I will not produce your final score. So it is important that we give each other feedback on the work that we do. And so I am expecting you, after you upload your own documents, to go in and look at your colleagues and see what they have posted and react to them as well. So you'll upload to the Dropbox. That comes to me so that I can score. And then it goes to the forum for discussion and commentary by your peers. All right, so now I want to take us to the rubric. So I'm going to jump back here real quick. And let's see, where is this going? There it is. Takes me a second, sorry. Hang on, it's loading. There it is. Okay, so you can see final assessment scoring guide for the artifact and the accompanying written reflection. Again, there's those driving questions, and there's the product description of the artifact, all right? And so under here is the artifact rubric. You can see there is a potential of 10 points for creativity, 5 points for selection of your issues, 5 points for showing the connection between the issues in your artifact, and then at 5 points for the understanding, demonstrating that extensive and careful understanding of the issues. You can see you can range in sophisticated, satisfactory to unsatisfactory. Basically what I do is I have a range starting at 10 all the way down to 1, and your score will adjust depending on whether I feel you're at a sophisticated, satisfactory, or unsatisfactory rating for each of these areas. If you have more questions about exact how that breaks down, I would encourage you to look in the Dropbox where I will have this rubric, and I will show you exactly how I scored each of the segments of your artifact. All right, let's look at the written reflection part just a little bit. It looks very similar, using that same range of sophisticated, satisfactory, and unsatisfactory. You can see under the explanation, there's a maximum of 12 points. Under sophisticated, I'm looking for that your writing thoughtfully explains the reasons why you selected those issues and describe in detail how they're portrayed in the artifact. Sometimes students miss this part about describing how they're portrayed in the artifact. I will be looking for this. Then I want you to carefully explain how you feel the issues are connected and explain why they're important to you and to others. Again, I will look for all of these things specifically. Next is connection to research. You should have at least 4 references, preferably more than that. And then finally, the elements that I also just talked about is that your paper is conventionally correct and that you've used APA. And you can see the points for that as well. And you can see I'm looking for the writing having very few to no spelling or grammatical errors. You have a strong attempt to follow APA guidance. You have a reference list that follows at the end and is in APA style and format. If you have questions about APA, I'm going to tell you, please consult your manual. Everyone is required to have the manual as part of this program, as part of this class. I'm going to want you to go there first. If you have a reference you're not sure how to cite or you're struggling with it, you can certainly contact me. I really want you to look for it first by yourself rather than coming straight to me. And of course, that's just a good instructional technique. If I find it for you, I am the one who's doing all the learning. I want you to know how to do it because this will not be the last time you'll need to use any of those references or tools that will help you produce the best paper possible in APA. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted you to have those basics for your final artifact and reflection. I am really excited to see what you produce. You've been a tremendous group, and I have enjoyed watching you work very much. And so I look forward to seeing what you produce in your final artifact and reflection. Thanks, everyone.